What helps you go to sleep when you don't feel tired? White noise, such as rain sounds. Reading. It's kinda sad, but I've realized books put me to sleep now, even if it's an exciting book. I learned a trick recently that helps me a lot. I count backwards from 99, slowly. The key is to do it slowly, and I cannot emphasize the importance of that enough. Think the number, then take a pause that feels a little bit too long before thinking the next number, then take another pause. 99, 98, etc. The lowest I've ever counted is into the 60s or maybe the 50s before I fall asleep. Often, I'm asleep before I'm through the 80s. Sometimes I'll lose track of what the next number is because I catch myself falling asleep, so I'll start over, and I always fall asleep quickly after that. Again, the key is to count backward, slowly. Before I started doing this, I used to toss and turn in bed for hours trying to fall asleep, but this knocks me out in minutes. Maybe you're wondering why start at 99, why not 100? If I start at 100, I hear Bono's voice from the Rattle and Hum version of Bullet the Blue Sky, saying slapping M down, 100, 200, which eventually leads to am I bugging you? Don't mean to bug you from silver and gold, and that bugs me, which makes it even harder to fall asleep. God damn it. So, I start at 99 instead, because that. I'm at minus 486. Did I do it wrong? I play some stories in my head, like you're suddenly a character in your favorite series and what would you do and stuff. Cheesy as it is, Bob Ross panting videos on YouTube. He makes me feel safe and secure, talking on and on about his animals. I love falling asleep to the funny stories he tells about his paintings. He calms me down a lot when I'm feeling anxious or upset, which is mainly the reason I stay up, and I can drift off dreaming about happy little clouds and trees, and a river that Bob fishes in, or well catches a fish, gives it CPR, names it and gives him a little pat on the toot-toot and sends him on his way LMAO. Thinking about all the gophers I didn't run over in 2005. I just make up stories in my head. Sometimes I'm in the world of a TV show I like, or in my own little dream universe I made where I have made up characters and such. And eventually I just fall asleep doing this. Thinking about the Big Sad and cry myself to sleep. Ah yes, the Big Sad of 1929, I remember it well. How it's made, that shit should be called How It's Melatonin. Well, not Reddit, that's for sure. Sent at 2:47 in the morning. This is so silly, but I watched the '09 Sherlock Holmes movie with RDJ. Puts me right to sleep like I done been knocked out. Head tilt, 12 degrees, right arm, below pillow, right leg, out of blanket, left leg, 45 degrees, outcome, 8-hour slumber. Basically I convince myself I've given up and go on my phone or play 3DS and make a plan to read something or play to a measurable point, so that there's something that I want to stay awake for, something that sleep would interrupt. Puts me right the FK to sleep, and I'm never sure if I should be glad or annoyed. I have imaginary conversations with fictional characters. Sometimes I vent or ask for advice, guidance. Sometimes I give it. Sometimes I antagonize them. Sometimes I'm a character in their universe, part of their story. Sometimes I'm still me, but I got stuck in their universe somehow. Sometimes I appear early in the story and have foreknowledge of their adventures and meticulously plan out how to minimize their tragedies. Eventually I'm dreaming. That's my secret, Captain. I'm always tired. This is going to sound weird, but I slowly say good night to each of my body parts, starting with my toes and working up. Usually, I'm asleep by the time I hit my chest or so. If I'm not, I know it's going to be a long night. Bob Ross videos. Masturbate. Nothing. That's why I'm on Reddit from 3 AM to 7 AM before my 9 AM job. Pretending to be asleep. Fake it till you make it. I do this thing that the US Army does. They start from their feet and only focus on one body part at a time. They completely relax their whole body section by section, and then once completely relaxed they try not to think of anything and fall asleep in about 10 seconds. It used to take about 20 minutes for me to fall asleep by just laying there with my eyes closed, but I tried this last week and I fell asleep straight away. Probably not the healthiest method and not something to rely on, but eating a large meal knocks me out. Answer questions on this subreddit until you fall asleep of boredom. Cuddling my plushies. I just look at the fan above me and follow its blade by revolving my eyes, and I slowly get tired of it and fall asleep. Melatonin. Cry. A technique which I call 4-7-8. In 4 seconds you inhale. Keep air in for 7 seconds and exhale for 8 seconds. Also try to relax while doing it. Bold of you to assume I have a healthy enough lung capacity to spend a solid 4 seconds inhaling before my lungs are full. I'm kinda shocked no one said Sleep With Me podcast. I used to have terrible nights not being able to sleep due to stress and anxiety, but dearest Scooter's dulcet tones and superfluous tangents, his words not mine, have definitely helped me to fall asleep. It's the best podcast I never remember listening to, and I can't recommend it highly enough. Listening to rain and city ambience on YouTube. Really relaxing. Count from 100 to 1. Seems silly. Works great. Crippling depression. We'll give it a go, thanks. The military sleep procedure. Here's how to do it. Relax the muscles in your face, including tongue. Drop your shoulders as far down as they'll go, followed by your upper and lower arm. Breathe out, relaxing your chest, followed by your legs. You should then spend 10 seconds trying to clear your mind before thinking about one of the 3 following images. You say don't think. Don't think. Don't think to yourself over and over for about 10 seconds. The technique is said to work for 96% of people after 6 weeks of practice. I'll usually listen to some music on low volume and just focus on that rather than focus on trying to sleep. My dad taught me a technique that works well for me. It's kind of weird and spiritual. Because of where we experience most of our senses, especially eyesight, we tend to exist from our heads. Like, our awareness comes from our heads. When I can't sleep, I try to exist within my belly. I try to make my awareness come from the middle of my body. It's incredibly relaxing. The fact that I have no job, no money, and no girlfriend. Meditate. Some YouTube guided meditations really help for sleep. I'll post this again. Since I posted this last time this was posted. The part of your brain that regulates sleep likes 2 things: regularity and darkness. Your room should be completely dark. You shouldn't use anything with screens in bed. And if you must use them at night, use blue light filters. Don't consume alcohol, exercise, eat huge meals, or drink caffeine before bed. Your brain doesn't understand the concept of waking up on different days of the week. It likes regularity. Get up at the same time every day and go to sleep in a dark room every day. You'll get tired when you maintain good sleep hygiene. Get up at the same time every day. Laughs in shift work. I tell myself not to think about sleeping. Just enjoy the nice crispy blankets and soft bed, and I tell myself to try to relax and get really cozy instead and not to worry about falling asleep. Warm whiskey. Staying up more on my phone on YouTube or Reddit. I recall there being a subreddit somewhere about Futurama sleepers. But I pretty much can't go to sleep without playing some show that I've seen 1,000 times in the background. Not sure why it works, but it does. Recycled AskReddit posts usually do it for me. Math learning videos. I was homeschooled, and I always had to watch my math lectures sitting at my desk, because a couple times I tried sitting in bed and they put me right to sleep. Focusing on my breathing. Breath in is 1, breath out is 2, and so on. Get to 10 and start again. If my attention drifts, bring it back to breathing. Alternatively, come up with a topic and go through the alphabet for things related to it, like city names. I very rarely get through the alphabet. The podcast Mysteries Abound always lulls me to sleep. The host has a great accent and tone, and he just reads different articles. It's available on Stitcher. I usually set the sleep timer and I'm out within 30 minutes. I just put my pillow on the other side of the bed, and for some reason this has worked since I was a child just turning around. But I think my friend had a more interesting one. She listens to gay sex. She calls it her lullaby. Reading books. Except for that one time I read the ending of the HDM trilogy and just didn't sleep instead. I listen to the Game Grumps on YouTube. Even if they're yelling or laughing like idiots, their voices are quite soothing. Think about my life's mistakes. Chamomile tea. For some reason, if I imagine winning the lottery and I start going over what I would do and what kind of house I would buy, and 80% of the time it works all the time. I usually like to toss and turn and imagine how many hours of sleep I'd get if I fell asleep, that very minute until 2 hours before my alarm goes off. Works every time.